everybody, my name is Becky and I welcome you to my muscle function video series. Today we're going to be going over the Anconeus muscle. I will be going over the origin, which is the starting point, insertion, which is the ending point. Follow that with a photograph of the muscle so you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then we'll move on to its functions, and then I'll finally provide you a few exercise examples so you know what type of exercises that you can do in order to strengthen it. But please keep in mind the exercise examples that I provide you, they aren't the only ones that are good to strengthen this muscle. So let's start off with a location so we know what we're talking about, and then we'll move on from there. So the origin of the Anconeus muscle is on the posterior surface of the lateral condyle of the humerus, okay? And then it inserts onto the posterior surface of the lateral olecranon process and the proximal quarter or fourth of the ulna, okay? Now the posterior surface of the lateral condyle of the humerus, okay, your humerus bone being up here, okay? This is your upper arm bone. Now the condyle is kind of like a knuckle part where it goes into the joint, okay? So we're looking on the posterior surface, which is the back side. Okay, now the condyle of the humerus is down here, alright? So it's on the posterior surface of the lateral condyle, okay, which means the outside back of that condyle, okay? So it originates or starts from there, okay? And then it inserts onto the posterior surface of the lateral olecranon process and the proximal fourth of the ulna, okay? Now the olecranon process is pretty much your elbow, okay? So if you have your funny bone or your elbow right here, okay, it is on that lateral surface, okay? And then it does run down about a fourth of that ulna, okay? So it pretty much, it's a very small muscle. It's pretty much just in the elbow joint, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and apply a photograph so you know exactly what I'm talking about so there's no confusion. So check that out right here. Okay, so now that we know exactly where this muscle lies, now we can apply its functions. So the function of this muscle is to perform elbow extension, okay? So elbow extension is pretty much from straightening your arm, okay? If you were to have your arm at a 90 degree or any further past straight, you're going to use this muscle to straighten your arm, okay? Now, the actual chief function, or known as the main function of this muscle, is to actually pull the synovial membrane out of the way of the olecranon process, also known as your elbow, okay? So it's going to pull this membrane out of the way so that process, or your elbow, can move into place, okay? There could possibly be some pinching or damage to that membrane if it didn't do so. So that is its main function, but we can still strengthen this muscle, which will let us move on to the exercises that we can use in order to strengthen this muscle. So just keep in mind that pretty much any elbow extension movement is going to help strengthen this muscle. I'm just going to provide a few examples of what you can do in order to strengthen this muscle. You are not limited to, by any means, just to these exercises to strengthen this muscle. Please use your imagination, creativity, any exercises that you know of and are comfortable with to use in order to strengthen this muscle. So here's a few examples that you can use, or you can just stick away for later reference. So check it out. much for sticking around to view those few examples. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them below. If you liked the video or you found it useful, hit the like button. Pass it on with a share with a friend. They may be able to use it too. Knowledge is power, and don't be, stingy with knowledge. So I will see you guys all next week. I hope your week is fun and productive. See you guys next week.